All right, so we're going to watch. Probably Trump will do some symbolic things. Putin won't respond, and it'll just be back to business as usual.
Well, I wouldn't say symbolic. If you put secondary sanctions on China and India because they're buying Russian oil, and you try to eliminate the Russian ghost fleet of tankers, what they do, the Russians will fill a tanker with oil, send it out. They'll turn off their transponders, turn off their GPS, paint the back of the vessel so you don't know where it's from, and it'll meet another vessel at sea, and they'll transship the oil and then send it to China. That's going on. It's going on every day. The other big thing is we're going to cut you out of the insurance market. The Russians, are not going to be able to go to Lloyd's of London and get insurance on your transshipment. They don't know much about the insurance business. I mean, first of all, there's something called self-insurance where you just create a reserve fund. There's offshore insurance, captive insurance. There are a lot of ways of dealing with the insurance side of the equation. So none of this has worked, and none of it's going to work.
No, that's a really powerful thought there. And so they're just going to. My question is, will they attack both India and China with these secondary sanctions, or is that just something that's just not going to be possible?
It's a really good question, Brian, but look at it both ways. If they do, you're probably going to send the price of oil 70 on its way to $80 because you're going to be doing other things, including trying to, eliminate Russian exports in the physical sense. If they don't, Trump loses face. Like you said, the weapons they're not a joke, but they're not effective. So Trump either completely disrupts the global oil market to the benefit of Russia. Who benefits from higher oil prices? Russia and Saudi Arabia. But you're either going to do that, put more money in the Russian reserve fund, Russian reserves, or you're going to lose face. So you have two bad choices. So why did you put yourself into this box? The answer is Trump listened to really bad advice from a bunch of warmongers who think Putin's going to cave. They don't understand Putin. I got a graduate degree in international economics and international studies before I went to law school, but I did that in the mid '70s at the height of the Cold War, and it was the Soviet Union at the time, but it was still Russian leadership and Russian mentality, and we studied it very, very closely, and I had a good working knowledge of it, but.
Investment Club. Today, I consider it the best investment that I've ever made. We get 4 projects presented a week by their associated CEOs. Personally, I'm completely blown away by the quality of these projects, and I know of nowhere else where I would be given this same opportunity. Each week that passes, I feel more appreciative of the fact that I'm a member of this group. The vibe was just tremendous. Everybody's on the same wavelength. We just clicked. Everybody listened to each other, enjoyed their company. It was just magical. Take action. Don't take my word for it. Due diligence you need to do. And I really hope that someday down the road I see you in the club. It far exceeded expectations, without question.
The people running policy today, I mean, they're, a generation younger than I am. They got their training in the '90s. What was going on in the 1990s? The fall of the Soviet Union. Yeltsin was like an alcoholic, running around on a tank. Putin was the up and comer. He didn't really take power until around 2000, 1999, 2000. But Russia in the '90s was the Wild West. I mean, there was no law and order. It looked like it was imploding internally. That was not an exaggeration. So the U.S. scholars at the time said, "Oh, this is easy. We can break up the Russian Federation. We can loot the place. We can make them just like us, make them, dance to our tune, etc." And Putin's a punk who came along and ruined the game. And they hate Putin for that reason. Again, I came from an older tradition that took Russia, again, Soviet Union at the time, but really Russia, took it seriously, considered it to be a world power, and understood how Russians think. And I've been to Moscow and I've spent time there. I have friends there. I had some very, very interesting experiences there. But I once ran into a Russian. He said, Jim, the reason Americans don't understand Russians is because we're white, and you think we're just like you are. We're not. They're a different culture, a different civilization, a different religion, the whole Orthodox, Catholic thing. They come from kind of Genghis Khan, and we come from from England, basically. And elsewhere, America's fairly diverse at this point, but it's basically Western Europe until recent years. My point being, these are different civilizations with different histories, different cultural modes, and Americans, unless you study it, unless you've been there, do not understand Russia very well, and we're making a lot of mistakes.
Yeah, that's a great explanation. I love that quote.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's that, and then there's that old line from some Russian philosopher, novelist that said, "You cannot understand Russia with your mind." I always think about that.
That's a good. I hadn't heard that, but that is really, really to the point. Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, Putin's support does not come from the oligarchs. He hates the oligarchs, and they hate him. But he put them in a box. He said, "You can keep all your money and do your thing. Keep out of politics. Keep out of government. Don't stand in my way. If you do, you'll end up in jail or worse." So they said, "Okay, we'll take that deal." Putin's support is the military, everyday Russians, and the Orthodox Church.
right.
And that's another blind spot in the West. We are so secular, we don't understand the role of religion. This goes back to Samuel Huntington's thesis, the clash of civilizations. But if you don't understand the role of the Patriarch of Moscow and the Orthodox Church, then you don't understand Russia.
Hey, I know investing in crypto is scary. It takes a real leap of faith because there are so many scams, rug pulls, and bad actors out there. It's a dangerous business, which is why 95% of people lose all their money. Well, that's why I created the London Real Investment Club, so you can access the hottest deals on the planet and use the crypto bull market to create the generational wealth that you deserve. Join my team of over 100 people from around the world that are making millions of dollars behind the scenes investing in blockchain, AI, Web3 games, DeFi, Bitcoin, and more. Don't miss out. Click the link below to book a call with one of my team now. But hurry, this bull market will end soon.
I know investing crypto can be scary. That's why you gotta join the investment club. Pull the trigger. Let's do this.